I am so thankful to all of you that made it through my 4-part series of my entire brain dump of what I was thinking about costume college. To all of you that got all the way to the end, thank you so much for sticking with me. It seems like it helped a lot of people, so that's amazing. And as of filming this today, there are almost 600 of you, which I'm just shocked. Welcome to everyone who's new. If you haven't already, please hit the comments down below. Let me know where you're from. Let me know what you're working on. We've got some really fun chats going on down there, and I would love for each of you to be a part of that. I promise that very soon I will get away from the talk videos and get back to sewing. My next video has sewing in it, I absolutely promise you. I wanted to address this though because you will have seen that my background is changing, and I wanted to just talk about why, the decisions behind what I did, why I did it, and show you my updated space. I am super pleased with it. It functions way better than it did before. I got back from costume college and I was full of inspiration. I was so excited to jump straight back into sewing. I wanted to make all of the things. I have way more ideas now than I did when I left. And I walked into my studio space and I hated it. I felt claustrophobic. It felt dark. It just didn't feel like it functioned for the way that I wanted to make videos. And I had sort of known that beforehand, but I didn't have any good idea about how to change it, about what to do. And so when I came home full of inspiration, I just couldn't sew. I had a really hard time looking at my space and going, yes, I want to be in there. I want to be making these things, and knowing that the space would help me create things. So the couple of major problems that I wanted to solve. First off was lighting. Every time I filmed, I felt like everything on my work table was dark. You couldn't see it. I had to spend so much time moving lights around, and frankly, if you walked in this room right now, in reality, you would say, this is such a bright, airy room, but somehow it never came across on camera. One of the next things about the room that I knew I really needed to fix was it always felt a bit claustrophobic. There were sort of these little narrow alleys in between each of the pieces of furniture, and additionally, I was constantly tripping over the cables that I was running into the center of the room. The iron, my ring light, it was always this hassle of like tripping over tripods, trying to get from one point of the room to the other. And I would end up standing in this one tiny little corner and just sort of like shuffling around. It just never felt, for as large as this room is, I think the room is like 14 feet square or something like that. And it definitely did not feel that way. And lastly, in the same vein as not being able to move around very much, was the fact that I couldn't film anything. I couldn't get a wide enough shot of me in a piece of clothing. There wasn't anything that created a nice backdrop. I could kind of stand at my table and film myself against the table, but that felt really awkward. I always felt like I was on some weird chef show, and I couldn't really bring you over my shoulder and show you what I was working on. So I sat down and mapped out a little little layout on some graph paper and just started playing with the pieces of the room before I actually moved any furniture. That really helped me to figure out what was important, what pieces needed to go where. The first thing I knew was that I wanted to move my cutting table over to the window. So it's over here now and provides so much more light. The other thing I knew I needed was a filming backdrop. I wanted a place for a full-length mirror so I didn't actually have to go out in the hallway behind the room and try and film there. That just was starting to feel really awkward. I couldn't get a wide enough shot. So what I figured out was that the room is wide enough that if I cleared a big space in the center, I could have a full-length mirror on one side and pull the camera all the way over to the other. Moving the cutting table really did help that, but it also was prioritizing the big wall that I had as a filming backdrop. I can actually get a full-length shot so you can see an entire dress, which is going to be really exciting. And then the other major upgrade that I bought, and actually was not very expensive, but was taking my camera off of my ring light and getting a separate tripod. So I got I think it's just an Amazon basic tripod. It was, you know, 25, 30 bucks, not terribly expensive, but it has offered me so much freedom to be able to get the shots that I want. I can move the camera all the way around the room. I now have this big open space in the center. I can film the mirror and show you what I'm doing. I can bring you up close to the table and show you what I'm working on. The room feels as big as it is. It feels lighter and brighter and airier, and I'm absolutely thrilled. This is my new studio space setup. I am not going to walk you through every single detail because I have already explained that in the last one, and mostly things have not changed. They've just been rearranged a lot, but I thought I would show you the updates that I made and how I am now using the space. So really the only piece of furniture that I got rid of in here was the tabletop that used to sit in this corner. I've now moved my sewing machines onto what used to be my desk. It's a little bit higher, which is really great. And also I updated my chair. I went to IKEA and got this little chair. I'll put the name on the screen somewhere, but it's firmer and it's taller than my other chair, and so it allows me to sit up a little bit higher and a little bit straighter, and has really saved my back when I've been sewing. So it's been super helpful. I also moved my thread across the room, which seems like such a simple thing, but my thread used to be all the way on the other side of the room from where the sewing machine was, which was just silly. So now I can just sit here and grab what I need, which is great. And next, I moved my sewing table out of the center of the room and I put it next to the window. One of my biggest concerns with my old space was the traffic pattern was really difficult, and I was often tripping over cords of things, and now with the table over here, I have so much light coming in from the window, which is really fantastic, as well as it allows me to keep all of the electronics sort of around the outside of the room, and so now I can work up against it. I'm not tripping on things. Additionally, I did hang my paper roll on the end of my table, so now I can pull the paper up onto the top of the table and use it from there, and I'm not walking back and forth and cutting pieces off all the time. I only use exactly what I need, which has been super nice already. This has now become my ironing corner, so I have my ironing pad on my table here, which I can put away if I need to and use the full expanse of the table, but I also have my ironing board up, and it's not in the way of anything in the rest of the room, which has been super helpful. My ring light lives there and it provides light in that corner, which is great, but the ring light can now float around the room more easily. This is where my black bookshelf used to live and is now what I'm hoping will be a really great filming backdrop. I also invested in a full-length mirror, which has been wonderful already. Also, now that the room is so empty in the center, I can pull all the way back like this and hopefully give you what is almost, if not quite, almost a full-length shot of whatever I'm working on. So that is really great. Functionally, that's been really, really helpful. And then back in this corner, not much has changed. I just put the chair over here. This is where I sit and edit. I moved my drawers over here that have office-y things in them. I don't really use that very often, so it was sort of the only corner left that it could go in, but for right now it's fine over there. And then my black bookshelf just moved across the way and is now sitting on this side of the room. I do actually enjoy that I can sit in my chair and edit, and I can actually see out the windows now. Before I was facing into the room, so that is also a really nice perk. Thank you all so much for joining me on this video. I am so thrilled with my new space. It's functioning way better. I've been working in it for a couple of weeks now and I'm just thrilled. I hope you really like it too. I promise next week we are going to get into some sewing. I am working on some pattern drafting and starting with the basics and making a bodice block. So if that interests you, definitely hit the subscribe button. I'm trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of 2022, and your subscription would really help me out. I would really appreciate it. And I think that's it for now. I hope you're all safe and happy wherever you are, and I will see you all really soon. Bye. Playing around with a whole bunch of... Neville wanted to pop in and say hello. Can you say hello, Neville? Yes. Oh, thank you, baby. Okay. And he's off.